into the listener questions real quick. I did have two keys to the game, and I think I talked about it, a little bit before, but neither of these teams have been very good with. Let me rephrase that. Neither of these teams are very good from a red zone efficiency standpoint, scoring touchdowns. We saw that last week with the Green Bay Packers. Obviously, I think the Niners are. Let me get the stat up real quick. I don't have it up. I think they're like 24th or 26th in the league in red zone efficiency. Okay, so that part of it is huge. Holding on to the football, the Niners are +3 in the turnover ratio, and obviously with the way McKinney played early on with all those picks, we have a plus turnover ratio. But when you lose that part of the game, particularly with the Niners, when they lose the turnover battle, they do lose the game. At least this year, that holds true. So something you really want to think about. The other part is like, can we hold up in the trenches on both sides of the football? Because they show a lot at you from our defense, their offense, especially if Kittle's healthy. There's just a lot of things they can do with the football. There's a lot of places the ball can go. It's a lot like watching our offense, quite frankly, except I think they have more effective people in certain places. Like Tucker Kraft, when he gets better in a couple of years, he wants to be George Kittle, right? We don't have a Juszczyk. McCaffrey and Josh Jacobs, we can say right now they're playing the same style of ball, but and Jaden Reed, when he gets a little bit older, he's going to be like, I want to have the same kind of career Deebo's having, right? So we have the young guys that are mimicking those guys and might be on a game by game basis just as good. We don't know, but right now, just from a historical perspective, you would say that team maybe has some of those talented players that really make it difficult for the offense to understand where the ball's going. And then defensively, we just saw it. I mean, they have, especially if Bosa's healthy, but even if he's not, Leonard Floyd's always been a really good player. I think he's like 32, but he can still rush the passer. I love 91 on their team. Malik Collins is a really good interior pass rusher, just a really good interior player. It's crazy how, I think Grenard's up in Minnesota. And it's crazy how many good players the Texans on defensive line have produced. Right? Will Anderson's going to be another one. Obviously, they brought over Danielle Hunter. He's from Minnesota, but they've just got dudes all the time there. Anyways, and then when Bosa's healthy, huge problem. So and then who knows? I think Hargrave's out, but they had Javon Hargrave. We want to talk about a real problem that guy is inside. So lucky he's not playing. With that, let's go listener questions. All right. First question up. Which side of the Niners team is biggest threat to the Packers, offense or defense? I always think, well, it's a really good question, actually. I mean, I suppose if you're asking me, do I think the Niners are going to score more than 25 points? Or to put it on the other side, do I think the Niners are going to give up less than 22 points? So they average on defense 22.2 points a game. And they average 24 points a game on offense. I think the Packers are going to score more than 22 points this game. I could be wrong, but I think they're going to score more than 22 points. So I guess offensively is where I would say the Niners have the ability to outperform. And I think honestly, a lot of that has to do with whether or not Kittle plays. I think if Kittle plays, they outperform because he can do so much more. And even if they bring in the heavy set plus Kittle is a lot different than a heavy set plus 82. I don't know his name. He's not the same player. Another good question. Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love. Is Tom Clements, the quarterback coach, a Hall of Fame coach? So I think he had Brett in 06, which is after I left. And then I know he was with Aaron. Obviously, with Jordan, Jordan's a good player, but the jury's still out on is he going to be an Aaron and a Brett. I think that's a little bit premature, and I think quite frankly, I think there's a ton of mechanics issues with Jordan, and I think there's a ton of things that like I've said this a ton, man. Like if you put some of the guys that are struggling, if you bring them to Green Bay, they're not struggling anymore. And I think that when you watch, I just remember when I was playing, and guys, even before I was there, you think about the quarterbacks who went through the Mike Holmgren system. You think about Aaron Brooks, Hasselbeck, think about Mark Bunnell. Think about Kurt Warner was there for a cup of coffee. Doug Peterson, for years and years and years. These guys are all starters in the National Football League. Some of those guys are like amazing. Matt, Kurt, Aaron had a great career. Mark had those guys are really, really good players. And so I think as much as anything, as we can give credit to an individual coach, which I'm happy to do, but I can't really give you a good answer there. But I do think that the environment that you're in and the people that you are surrounded by, and I'm talking maybe about philosophy from the head guy or culture from the head guy, but also the players that are around you. I think that has a direct effect on how successful you are. And I think you continue to see that in different forms and fashions with different positions across the league. But certainly the quarterback room for the Green Bay Packers has been amazing. Now, if you were going to rank those three guys, you probably rank Aaron 1, Brett 2, and Jordan a distant third at this point because it's still relatively young in his career. But it will be interesting to see, and you certainly hear so many good things. Listen, when you hear one player talk good about one coach, it can be a personal relationship. Okay, when you hear every player that goes in that room talk good about that coach, he's a good coach. That's a good ass coach for you. This 49ers team has been fill in the blank. This 49ers team has been searching for a spark. And I think that's red zone efficiency, like we talked about offensively. And then I think their turnover ratio, while it's +3 right now, is not what they're used to. If you look just at the numbers, this team should be, an 8-2 team. A 7-3 team, not a 5-5 team, and they've lost a couple games recently that they're going. I know that they walked out of Seattle going, "There's no way we lost that game," but they find a way to lose a game every once in a while. What makes Zach Tom so good, and how does he hold up so well against edges like on San Francisco? Well, Zach Tom first of all, he's a really good player. I think here's the easiest thing to say: when you teach a good athlete how to get to their spot with some semblance of body control, you're going to have a lot of success. And I know that's, again, sometimes I say stuff and I'm like, these guys must think I'm an idiot. But, when I talk to football players at every level, it's all about how you get to your confrontation spot. Are you under control? Are you in balance? Are you in a position to strike? And where is that on the field? What does that look like? What does that feel like? And I think when you look at Mark Tauscher or Chad when I was playing, different body styles, different, it couldn't be more different, right? Just physically, right? But one thing that they both could do at an incredible level was, given what they were good at, given their leverage points, given their balance, given all the things they had going for them, I'm talking about the outside tackles now, they could get to a spot where they felt like it was very, very difficult for the person to beat him. Bakhtiari is the same way. David Bakhtiari had the ability to get to a position on the field where effectively the defensive end ran out of options, right? So the goal is for us as blockers, this is how I teach these guys now, the goal is for the defensive player to run out of options, and they have to go through, because you can sit on that and you can punch through that and you can do all these things. So basically what that means is, am I covered up? Is my profile one that's not giving up a lot of surface area, right? Do I have a hip hinge position, et cetera? And I think Zach Tom does that at a really, really high level. The other thing that is evident is the Packers, like every other team that's worth their salt now, they run a lot of things that make it difficult to get a clean rush off on any particular play, whether it's because you're getting chipped, whether it's because you have the tight end at the line of scrimmage now, whether it's because it's a play action or a keep pass, whether you're running that split flow where the guy's coming backside or you're pulling a guard. There's so many things you have to look at. It's like, how many plays am I really going to get where I know I'm one-on-one, I'm not going to have a center slide to me or guard slide to me, and I'm going to win that match. Like, let's say you get 8 plays a game at the right tackle position. That's probably more than that. Let's say 12. There's 12 plays a game where you're like, this is a 5-step drop. He's going to hold the ball, and I have to win. Right? That's where you make your money. And I think what Zach Tom does so well is that in those moments, he does not shy away. He gives that player his best stuff. Whatever that is, he gives him his best stuff. He doesn't try to get fancy and try out all these different moves, try all these new sets, all this BS. He does the best that he can in that moment, and then he learns from it and he moves on. And I think that is the hallmark of a really, really good player. Last one. Watch a few 49er games on NFL Plus. Seems like Williams, I'm assuming Trent Williams, lines up in the backfield all the time. Thoughts? My thought is that rule has been bastardized since I played. I don't really understand what point they're trying to make. I know that there's procedure penalties early in the season were absurd. I remember the Texans game. I think they flagged them 5 or 6 times, and then you watch like the Kansas City Chiefs guy, and you're like, what are we even talking? It's not even the same sport, right? Either line up offsides or starting early. I watched Trent, and I've never sat and gone like, oh wow, he's offside. I never think that at all. That doesn't mean that it's not. That just means I don't look at it that way. Probably because I don't like that rule. But listen, we're -2 here. Game should be won. -2 at home is kind of like coin flip, right? But this is a good game that gets 2 good teams. It'll be. I think the injury report is huge. Jay Alexander didn't practice yesterday, I think. So I'm doing this on Thursday. That would be a big deal. Obviously, not as big because of Ayuk not being there, but still they've got talent. They can throw the football. They do. Given who they have in the backfield, they throw the football a lot for me. A little bit surprising, but what do I know? Shanahan's a damn genius, and I'm not. So, guys, YouTube button, subscribe, like, rate, review. Thanks to our sponsors on the BetOnline, betonline.ag. Go to their website, check everything out. A lot of fun, even though the political game's over. And we'll talk to you soon.